So what about a relationship where the woman really wants to get married, or let's say she's looking for a husband? How does letting go and loving really affect this?
You see so many young women who are only listening to their biological clock and not to the partner. Or they're just listening to the biological clock and they're just looking for low-hanging fruit on the tree, picking off the first person who's willing to be the baby daddy. Well, that obviously is not love. So this is an example of looking at love without personal gain, without looking at your own preferred outcomes. If it works for both of you, it works. If it works for one of you, it doesn't work. And if you don't want to be that woman who is a single parent, who's divorced, or who had a hideous situation because she was forcing her husband into more children, which is another common theme. So if you don't want any of that, then this show is for you. This article is for you. So love means looking at your joint needs, co-creating the relationship together, and never attempting to make it about your personal gains and your preferred outcome, because that's forcing it. And that's not your partner. If you have to ram it down somebody's throat, that's not your partner. You can encourage, you can motivate, no ramming.
I like that. That seems like that flow can be there, and I know you can help people that maybe find that challenging. So I know, Susan, that there are 4 forms of complete detachment, which I know aren't really about detachment in the way we normally think of it. And please give us some clarity about that.
Well, I love the language that Thich Nhat Hanh used. He said, so detachment is not about holing up in a cave. It's not about ignoring everyone who's broken your heart. It's not about ignoring lust. And it's not about avoiding romance. Those are not detachment, those are just fear. So most of us have been there, where it's just too painful to think about going into that situation again. And I certainly spent the last 13 years deciding, oh, well, I'm just going to devote myself to serving humanity. I'm going to serve humanity, and I'm going to, stop all the personal priorities that I had. And to some degree, I was serious about that. And to some degree, I was on the right track. And to some degree, there was pain and fear. And you guys who know my story know, well, okay, that's perfectly normal. So I kept working on it, and I kept working on it, and I kept working on it. And thanks to a very dear friend, I came out the other side. Who knew?
There we go, a little self-discovery about Susan.
Who knew?
Oh, what a journey we're all on. Now, how can letting go, actually, let's say, letting go, diving in, they're just opposite ideas. And again, my brain is getting a little crazy.
Smoke coming out of yours. I can see it. So he explains that letting go doesn't mean what we think it means in the West. So if you're having trouble with the term letting go, don't call it that. Just call it consciousness. Because if you're grabbing somebody, that doesn't work. So if you've been grabbing at him or her, that doesn't work. So now let go. But not let go like pushing him to the other side of the room, but letting him be. So letting him be him, letting her be her, letting you be you, and diving in to the pure joy of intimacy, diving into that love, into the emotions, into the passion, into the gratitude, into the happiness, into the joy, diving in to what it means to be a human living in a body with other humans who have bodies, to fully and deeply experience love. That's what we're talking about tonight.
What a hot topic. So please, Susan, explain to us the first aspect of love that the Buddha actually describes?
So the first one is called Maitri. It's the intention and capacity to offer joy and happiness. And what's interesting about this is it's not what you feel like giving. You know, there are people who give you Christmas gifts that they think you should like. Okay, this is an example of why that doesn't work. So you don't give somebody the sex you think they should enjoy. You don't take people to the restaurant you think they should enjoy. You don't take them on the vacation that you think they should enjoy, though Gigi and I have a friend who finally admitted to her husband that she hated every single vacation he ever took her on. Remember? That was like so shocking. Like we were shocked to hear it, but she was, finally ready to explode. She didn't have the training and the skills to express her preferences all those years. But bottom line, if he thought he was loving her, in fact, he wasn't, because he never did a reality check. He never said, do you enjoy beach vacations? Do you love lying on the beach in the sun the way that I do? Do you love being on the beach with me and only talking to me at all of these resorts for a month at a time and just deeply delving into knowing each other more and more and better and better and better? And if he'd been able to ask that, she would have said, I hate it and I don't want any part of it. I'd rather stay home. But he never did. And that's what Maitri is about. The joy and the contribution to the person of what they need. And you being able to enjoy giving. Because you give a Christmas gift or a birthday gift that the recipient will love. Don't give them the gift that you think they should love. And that's the message here.
Perfectly put. So what does it really mean to actually deeply observe what makes somebody else happy? I mean, is this about the need list that you help us with?
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's pure observation. That's what I do with my clients, and of course that's what I teach my clients to do with their lovers, their would-be lovers, their family, their friends, their coworkers, their bosses. How to deeply understand. And I use Herman Brain Dominance, the 4 different quadrants, and the needs list from that, as well as the needs list from Marshall Rosenberg and Nonviolent Communication. And I have combination needs lists that if you find this interesting, then you want to email me and ask for those lists. Because understanding what people need is the beginning, and in a positive way, you're profiling them, but positively. And when you understand that this is what they need, then you can only begin to provide those needs. Only begin to. And the show that we did 2 weeks ago, which was about the 19 domains of a successful marriage, where you and your partner are discussing what does great sex look like, discussing what does monogamy look like, discussing all the different aspects of mutuality. What does it look like to have children together? What does it look like to raise children together? This is all about your observation, understanding your partner's needs, understanding your own needs, and coming up with strategies so that everybody's needs get met.
That's so heart-touching. We all want that, don't we? I mean, at least you can have good intentions.
We all do. We have intentions. Yeah. Now what?
So where does the second form of love fit? Let's say in a friendship as love.
I have always believed that friendship is at the root of love. I've always, even in the most romantic, passionate, ecstatic relationship that you could ever have. And I was thrilled to see that the Buddha said this, long time before I came up with the idea. So yes, the true meaning of Maitri, which was the first aspect of love, is friendship. There has to be a deep level of friendship, which is compassion, certainly respect, caring, intimacy, understanding, listening, speaking our own truth. All of those things are the deepest levels of friendship. And then when you add passion to that, when you add fun to that, when you add to that how thrilling it is, it's just thrilling. And every level becomes like another story on the skyscraper. It just becomes so thrilling. But remember that you can't build a skyscraper on quicksand. You have to build a skyscraper on an absolutely stable base and slab. And that is where friendship fits.
I love that. That foundation first. Now, what about the third form? When someone is in pain and we need to offer compassion and empathy.
Yeah, and it's, you know, people have said that men in America, in the West, have a tendency to want to get, you know, their fix-it kits out, you know, their toolkits. Where can I fix it? Oh, you have a plumbing problem, I got plumbing tools. You know, you've got this problem, oh, I'll go up on the roof. This is exactly the opposite of what the Buddha teaches. So it's about being present, as Marshall would say, being present with somebody's pain. If you've ever broken up with somebody whose heart was broken as a result, your ability to be present with that person, much in the same way as a parent needs to be present with that child who has hurt themselves, fallen down, even the parent who has inadvertently injured the child, wasn't thinking, and the child was there and boom. Now, the parent has caused the pain, and the parent has to be the one to comfort the child about the pain. That's what we're talking about here, because friendship is the base. To be able to communicate with someone in such a way, it isn't going to work for me. It doesn't work for me. I know you feel hopeful that we could spend the rest of our life together. I know this is what you think you want. I wish that I wanted it too. Or I wish I could give you what you want. And everyone has been in this situation on both sides of it at some point, you know, at some point. And I'm just thinking about back to when I was 15 and having to break up with somebody, and it was awful. I mean, it was just awful. And so I do teach people how to do this in the least painful, in a non-destructive manner. And if you're a compassionate person, then like me, you know, a long time later, 50 years later, I can still remember when, you know, I closed my parents' front door on Randy at the end of this conversation, and Randy went back to prep school, and it was not pretty. It was terrible. You know, it was a terrible thing. But, you know, you have to be there with someone's pain, whether you created it or you didn't. You have to be there, and out of that compassion, you want to make sure that you head these things off quickly. The sooner you know, the sooner you need to step aside.
Boy, being perfectly honest and open with that caring, of course. Now, I know we become more deeply involved in life when we can allow things to happen without really being focused just on the outcome. And we need to really have that compassion for the other person. And so it's just a sense of being conscientious to their pain. So how do we, is there more to say about this?
Always. There's always more to say. You're asking me if there's more to say? So when I was going through that terrible life-threatening divorce that you guys have heard about, I realized that one of the most crucial parts for me or anyone going through trauma is at some point in each day to stand in your pain. That means to feel it, to be present with it, to really allow it to wash over you and not shrink from it. The only way to get through pain is to feel pain. If you don't allow yourself to feel pain, you're going to be avoiding life for the rest of your life to attempt to avoid that pain. People come to me, you know, they're 40 pounds overweight, they're loaded with addictions, or they're dead, or they're in dead relationships, or they're not in relationships, or they have wars going on with people in their life. Terrible, terrible things, because something painful occurred, could be 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And because they were too afraid to stand in their pain, they didn't have the training that I had, They don't have the training that I offer now. They don't know what to do. And so I've gotten people through the most excruciating kind of pain in 3 days, mostly in 1 day. So if you are listening to this and you yourself has been through a deeply painful, terrifying, heartbreaking trauma, please take the opportunity of the free hour that I offer, and we'll get you through it, and then you'll have your life back.
I love that. I know you're determined and you follow through on healing people's deepest wounds. I love that. Now, becoming detached from the outcome, let's say in a love affair that sounds impossible, let's explore when you really love somebody, how do you handle that?
You have to be in a state of, and don't scream when you hear me say this, you have to be in a state of joy and gratitude for what you have, for the feeling of love, not the possession of the loved object, for the feeling of love. To be able to feel love is the gift. It is the greatest gift. Now, would you prefer to feel it every day till the rest of your life? Who wouldn't? How many people have that? To be able to feel a deep level of love, gratitude, joy. In fact, there is that word, love gratitude. There's a Japanese word, love gratitude. That's what we're talking about here. To feel love, gratitude, joy. Now, what's so beautiful about this, if you do that, not because you're trying to buy love. So obviously this whole show is about don't try to buy love. You'll fall in and out of that moment, but wake yourself up and stop. If you understand that you can't buy love, being present in the joy, gratitude, love is what makes you very attractive anyway. So if you can accomplish the things we're talking about here, you have that much more of a chance, because wouldn't you rather be with someone like this than one of those dead people? Wouldn't you rather be with someone like this, who's in joy no matter what you do, who's in peace no matter what you do? Maybe not 24/7 because you're human, but someone who is self-soothing, who has skills and tools, and who, like Gigi and me, can bring yourself back. Bring yourself back. Be responsible. Don't be a victim.
I like to be in the space where I feel a very calm delight. Absolutely. Now, if this question was a little complicated, there is one that's truly painful. And so please explain how to really feel that gratitude and even the joy in the face of disappointment or even horrific pain in any love relationship. Oh my.
Well, thank God I teach self-empathy. Thank God I teach the 4 questions of inquiry. Thank God you all know about Mary at O Vitamin Pro and different supplements to boost serotonin and dopamine and endorphins. Thank God there are all these other tools and skills, like the virtual reality skill and all these other skills. Because let me tell you, you're gonna need them. If you let yourself love in the fullness of time, one of you's going to die. One of you will probably die first. Neither option is attractive. So this is so crucial. To be able to be present for the beloved, for every minute of his life, because you love him so much. You want to give him that gift. You want that. Even though you know, what does that mean? That means he will not be present for you, or she will not be present for you. If you're a woman, then as you get older, you face the reality that not that many men make it into their late 90s, though some do. So you have an additional job to do everything you can to make sure that your beloved is healthiest, happiest, and has the greatest longevity. But the bottom line is you managing your mind. And these tools and skills are how you do it.
Very nice, absolutely. No matter what we're going through, suffering, joy, whatever it is. And yeah, us first. Now, what about the most painful part of letting go when you actually have to say goodbye for any of the reasons? How about death, including death?
Well, love is eternal. So if you believe you love her, if you believe you love him, settle down. It's not going anywhere. You know, my best friend died some years ago, and so the love doesn't die. It doesn't matter whether it's the best friend or the former fiance who died a few years earlier. Love is love, and love is eternal. And I believe in reincarnation, and I've seen other lifetimes. I've seen many, many other lifetimes. Whether it's true or imaginary, I have no idea, no way of proving it now. I can just say that of the 7 or 8 people that I've been very close to who've died, I've received a message from each one of them, 5, 6 days after their death, and the messages were all different. And so the messages were something consistent with who they were. And in the case of my Uncle Marvin, what was fascinating is his widow didn't get a message. His kids didn't get a message. I don't know anyone else who got a message. The message came to me because I would imagine he knew, because he knew me so well, that I would be the one who could hear it. I would be the one who would listen. And that's why all of these people, I believe, did give me messages. But the bottom line is it's easy for me to believe that love is eternal because I've had these experiences. You want to ask for them. You want to learn how to connect more intimately with the divine for the peace that it can bring you, for the joy that it can bring you. Because loving someone with all your heart who dies, and then knowing what I've said to you, well, love is eternal. You don't get to turn off the spigot just because you feel like it. But the person doesn't have a body anymore, so there's no point in mooning around the house. It's not like a boyfriend who's, breaking up for the weekend. This is someone who's gone. Now you have to take on a new direction with your life.